This is Potter's night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, though that's been disputed, and everyone's savings accounts had been looted. So no one could purchase a thing without credit, and in Bedford Falls, lest we ever forget it, the thrifty and hard-working folks were immune to obtaining good credit and were practically ruined. So on Christmas, these goody-good deadbeats were stuck. They were not just tapped out, they were flat out of luck. They crawled into their beds like the vermin they are, and dreamt of a miracle. Hardy har har. While I, in my opulent home on the hill, drank a quick slug of castor oil down with my pills, got under the quilt of my four-poster bed, and in just half a minute lay as still as the dead. But outside my window a disturbance rang out, so loud that I rose from my bed with a shout. I leapt into my wheelchair, to the window I zipped, and peered at a sight that was blurred, nondescript, till I put on my glasses. Then came into focus a stranger in red. I watched him approach us. I wheeled to my desk and pulled out my revolver. I planned to detach his fat head from his collar, but when I returned to the window to shoot, that damned interloper had just flown the coop. While I stood transfixed, he came right down my chimney. Believe me, it took all the guts I have in me, but confront him I did, dressed in my underwear. And I shouted while aiming the gun, "Stop right there!" In the dim light I saw who the trespasser was. It was that good-for-nothing old fraud Santa Claus. "You know me," he said lamely, holding out a gloved mitt. "And I recall you from when you were a kid." "And I recall you, though not fondly," quoth I. "Move just one muscle now, I assure you, you'll die. If I'd kept all the coal that you left in my sock, I'd own Pennsylvania, every cold black hard rock. You're so smug in your red suit and long beard so fleecy, I've got every good reason to call the police, see?" "Dear fellow," said Santa, "there's been a mistake. I would never have entered if you were awake." "I'm sure that you wouldn't, you wretched old burglar. You'd rob me much better without an observer." "You're scared," he said, probably watching me shiver. "You're concerned that your empire might crumble and wither. And, well, you should be, now that your sole support, the townsfolk of Bedford, are in bankruptcy court. Consider this pertinent question," he asked. "If everyone's broke, who will you bleed for cash?" I must say, the old schemer was making good sense. Bedford Falls' fiscal health had me worried and tense. Why not let them build up like I do with my elves, and when their profits rise, skim some off for yourself? This did make some sense in a weird sort of way, and it being quite late, I decided to say, "Your proposal has merit." Then, hesitantly, "I'll allow a few townsfolk to borrow from me. But," I said, "if they don't make their payments on time, they'll wish that they hadn't mooched one single dime." "Knew you'd see it my way," Santa said charmingly. "Now, as long as I'm here, here's a small gift from me." These old eyes brimmed with tears as I watched him extend the stuffed bear I had yearned for when I was just 10. "I'm glad we met," he said, "so that I could allay these fears of yours, Potter. Now I'm off to the Baileys." And I heard him exclaim, as he rode out of sight, "Happy Christmas, you fool! It's a wonderful life!"
Well, what are you waiting for?
Go on, get out.